Good morning everyone. Please excuse the very rough state of me. It's about 6 a.m. I've been up since 4. First of all, I wanted to say a big thank you for all of the comments of support and encouragement on my last couple of videos where I'm deliberating about what to do about my boat situation. I had some really good advice, really good suggestions, and most of all just really lovely comments, which always gives me a huge boost. And some of the perspectives and the suggestions that you made really gave me a lot of food for thought. One thing that cropped up quite a lot was the idea of treating the boat as like a bedroom. So still getting myself a studio so that I can have an address for the logistical things that I need to do, you know, with my tarot decks and other parts of my business where I do need an address and I do need somewhere to receive post to and post things out from, and also space, because I just don't have the space on the boat. Although it's not a long-term solution, it does slow down the immediate need to do something about my housing situation, because the only reason why that's a rush is the tarot decks and that part of my business. So it's a great suggestion. The only thing is that part of the reason why I want to move on from the boat is that I am quite uncomfortable there right now. The reason I woke up at 4 a.m. is that I sleep very badly on the boat, and I have done for a while now. It's worse when it rains. I can't sleep at all on the boat when it rains. I feel so uncomfortable when it rains. And that is kind of a hangover from the vandalism, because when my windows got broken, it actually took like 6 months to have them fixed. Insurance paid for the repairs. I was at a marina like waiting for repairs for about 6 months, and I kept saying, can we please get these windows fixed? But they were very busy and I wasn't booked in, so I just had to wait basically, and it took a long time. So for a long time my windows were leaking and rain was coming in, so whenever I'd stay on the boat I was just constantly stressed. And so the sound of rain on the roof still gives me like this heart palpitation, anxiety, and there's always something leaking. Right now my chimney's leaking, so there's always something. But I do think it's a very good idea for me to invest some time, some energy, emotional, spiritual, physical, everything, into getting comfortable on the boat, because any moves that I make aren't going to happen overnight, and it's, like I said in my last video, it's just not sustainable for me to keep avoiding being on the boat. I'm going to try and take the next couple of days to really recalibrate my nervous system on the boat, recenter myself. I'm going to do a huge spring clean because the boat is such a mess at the moment. I mean, you might not think it to look at it, but it needs a real deep spring clean. When you're in a house, you kind of get to spring and you see the daffodils coming out and you see it getting light at, you know, 6 in the morning, and you think, hooray, spring is here, wonderful. And it is, but you forget how cold it is in the mornings and at night. Right now I'm not really using my chimney because I'm worried about the fact that it needs some things doing to it. I could light a fire, I'm just not. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm uncomfortable on the boat right now. So I need to sort myself out. I need to figure out a fix for my chimney. I need to give it a good clean, and I need to sort just me out, because I am the problem. And I've said that for years. I've made videos in the past where I talk about my boat anxiety, and I've always maintained the responsibility of me being the issue. There's nothing wrong with my boat, it's perfectly fine. I just live in a way where I make myself uncomfortable for no reason, and like, no wonder I'm trying to run away from that. Would that still be an issue if I lived anywhere else? Maybe. So I need to get comfortable on the boat, and even though I'm still determined to move on to the next chapter, I don't know what that looks like yet, so I need to be happy in the meantime. So this is day 1 of project Get Happy on the Boat again. Would you like to see the most accurate representation of how I've been neglecting things here at the boat and what's happened because of it? I have an actual plant growing from the inside of my door. Oh, lots of plants, lots of ecosystems going on here. And I could just pluck them out, but do you know what? I kind of like them. I think they're cute. I'm just gonna let that keep going. That's my new garden. Another one of my issues is the lovely stove. She has been leaking from around here. Basically, it's a slightly bigger job than what I thought it was going to be, but unfortunately, it's led to some rust here. So, of course, in my head, I've now decided that if I light the stove, that something bad will happen. Yes, I know that's insane. It's taken me 3 days being here at the boat to actually turn my heating on, just to test and see that the radiators are working fine. They are, it's fine. I was just nervous about turning it on because I hadn't turned it on since January, and sometimes I have a power issue. There's just lots of issues. Very small things, but it can set off a chain reaction of me not wanting to deal with stuff. So yeah, I've been very nervous about relighting the stove. Don't think I'm going to do that today because I'm actually going back into London, of course. But yeah, hopefully in the next video you will see me tackling the stove issue and relighting the stove, even though it's not that cold. I mean, it's very cold at night, and the biggest issue that I have, because my bed is very warm, but the issue that I have is that it gets a bit damp when it's this cold and you haven't got the fire running, which hasn't caused any major issues for me, but it's just another thing that I worry about. Boat is just a representation of my mental health. Like, look how much stuff is here in this corner, and then I've got this big old pile down here and here, because honestly there is no room. One of the things that I would usually do in spring to rejuvenate myself and refresh is to move my furniture around. If I lived in a house, this would be the time that I was like trying my bed on a different side of the room, or, you know, just moving things around. But all of my furniture is fixed, it's all built in, so I can't actually do that. I can't refresh the space by moving things around. What I might do is take all of these books off my bookshelf and put them under the storage and the sofa, because a lot of them I don't use that often, so maybe there are better things that could be in that shelf. The trouble with me is if I put something away, I just don't know that I own it, so I just forget that I own it. I need to have all of my stuff on display, because then if I'm writing or anything and I'm like, oh, I need a reference, I need a book, I need this, I can see what books I've got. So maybe that won't work. Other ways that I would usually refresh in spring is, number one, to make my store cupboard soda bread, which is in my book Kitchen Magic. So I usually make this recipe around spring equinox or autumn equinox. When I want to give the cupboards a good refresh, I go through all of my cupboards, I look at what I've got, what I need, refill the jars, throw away things that have gone out of date, or just use up any nuts, any seeds, any dried fruit, and make them into a soda bread, because I love soda bread. It's one of the easiest breads to make because you don't have to prove anything, you don't have to wait for anything, you literally just make it, and it's so delicious. It's almost like cakey, but yeah, it's definitely my favorite bread. I make it so consistently. Another thing that I would suggest doing in spring, and something that I have actually done, is to give your clothes a good clear out. You know, sell stuff on Vinted, give it to the charity shop, just get rid of anything that you haven't worn in a long while. And I actually ended up having a lot of clothing items that I hadn't worn in a long while. My wardrobe is already sort of split between winter and summer clothes, because I just don't have the room to be keeping all of my clothes accessible to me at all times. So I will usually vacuum pack a few wintry items during summer and vice versa. And if you live in a small space, that's a really good way to save a lot of space, especially with things like jumpers. As soon as June hits, all of my jumpers are going to be vacuum packed, sealed, and put under the bed. So it just saves a lot of space in your day-to-day wardrobe. And yeah, having a good clear out made me realise how many clothes I have that I don't wear. It's completely unnecessary. And they're not even like nice clothes. I'm talking about like pajamas and what I call house clothes. Lots of socks that are hanging on for dear life. Like, why are they taking up space in my life? I really thought that when I moved onto the boat, I'd become incredibly considered with my space and my items. Not that I'm like a hoarder or anything. I don't actually own that much stuff, but I really thought that I would have it down to a fine art, and yeah, it just hasn't really happened. It kind of runs away with you. And now I'm in a position where mentally I've sort of outgrown the boat. I mean, yeah, I've got probably too much stuff for the boat, but also every time I walk through my kitchen, for example, I have to do like a little slalom. And the same with getting to the bedroom. Again, I have to do a little slalom. The shape of my kitchen, you have to kind of navigate through those gaps. And after doing that for 5.5 years, watch me do it again, and knocking things off the shelf and constantly just not having space to get through from one side of the boat to the other, I don't know, it just kind of wears you down eventually, because you're just every single day, about 20 times a day, you're just maneuvering through obstacles, and it's just constant. And I'd like to be able to do a cartwheel in my space. Another thing that I really try doing on these spring mornings is getting the sun on me as soon as possible. If it's a sunny day like today, I will be up and out early. Obviously, I was up and out at 6 o'clock this morning because I woke up at 4 a.m. So not quite like that, but when we do get the sunny mornings, it's so nice to be able to go and look at sunrise and see the mist on the lakes and the rivers. It really does ground me and recenter me. Like, being in nature is always the antidote to me feeling bad and anxious, especially because a lot of my anxiety is machine based. Like, we all have different areas of that anxiety. I've got some like medical stuff going on right now, and I said to my friend, I'd honestly rather go and have the procedure that I need to have done. I'd honestly rather go and have that done than start my engine, which I know sounds insane but worrisome over machines and engines and mechanics and noises and things like that. So yeah, going out into nature, being out in the sun is a really helpful thing for me and for anyone, I think. And that's also where foraging comes in. This is a great time of year to forage. There's lots of wild garlic. I'll leave a link of a video telling you what to do with your wild garlic. It's also a great time of year for self-care. One of the cards that came up in my tarot reading about what to do with my life last week was the Empress card. You know, so connected to self-love and nurturing and self-care, and clearly I've been neglecting that. So I think it's definitely time for some self-care rituals. This time last year I was making my own like homemade beauty remedies and facial steams and things like that, and I think I really need to get back into that. I think spring is a really nice time of year to start a new beauty routine. I call it beauty, I'd rather call it glamour, because if you know about glamour magic, and that's one thing that I'm talking about on my Patreon this month, it's all about inner confidence, it's all about self-confidence, it's all about illusion in a way, but I really believe in that fake it till you make it. So when I talk about beauty, I'm not really talking about like aesthetics, I'm talking about that inner confidence. And I think beauty and glamour is so much less about how you look, and it's more about who you are. It's more about how you carry yourself, your wit, your charm. I think we are really missing that in society. The more we focus purely on aesthetics, and don't get me wrong, I love looking at beautiful things, but it's becoming really vapid, and I kind of miss the idea that beauty comes from like a je ne sais quoi, someone's charm, someone's aura. And yeah, I think those like self-care rituals feed into that massively. Another thing that I want to do this week is have a big digital clear out. There are like 40,000 photos and videos on my phone, and I massively need to go through them, sort through them, you know, get rid of things that I don't need. I need to go through my notes app and go through all of the ideas that I have and like format them. I need to go through all of my Pages documents because I have reams and reams of digital documents where I've like written ideas, I've written YouTube scripts, I've written various things that I just haven't finished. So I need to prioritize finishing things. And one of the things that I've bought to help me do this is this little guy. This is a mini thermal printer. So I didn't want a big bulky printer because obviously where am I going to put it? But that printer uses photo paper, so it prints in colour. What I'm going to use it for is to make a vision booklet. So you see people making vision boards all the time and mood boards for the coming years, their manifestations, their goals. But I'm going to make a vision booklet, something that I can sit and go through and look at, because again, I just don't have the space to put a board up. So for me, I think a vision booklet, like maybe within my diary, because I use my diary quite often. It's sort of a catch-all for me for organisation, but also ideation, so sorting ideas out, daily to-do lists, that kind of thing, because I end up having like 50 notebooks on the go if I don't do that. So I think I'm going to put it all into there so that every time I look at my diary, which is basically every day because I write a to-do list every day, I will be looking at my manifestations, I'll be looking at my goals for the year. One thing that I've already done in here, I've swept. So I've swept my floors and I have had a rudimentary clean, like I've cleaned the kitchen and that kind of thing. If you'd have seen it yesterday, it's a completely different space to how it looked yesterday, because yesterday the table was up, there was stuff all over the table, there was stuff all over the sofa. So I have had a big clear out, and I think now it's time for a deep clean. I just know that I'm not going to be able to get all of these things done in one day. For now, that is the jobs list. Those are the things that I intend to do over the next few weeks to get me more comfortable on the boat. There's also some random like boat specific jobs, like I need to paint a door because a wasp tried to make a nest in it last year. So I need to cover the raw wood with paint. I need to get some nets up because at some point soon it's actually going to be too hot in here. You know, a lot of people have said, I can't believe that you want to move off the boat as soon as winter's over. Like, isn't winter the hard bit? And yeah, but summer's also really hard because it's usually 35 degrees in the boat all summer long. There's no shade here. So even though I have a white roof as well, like my roof is not dark, it's very light. It's not white, but it's a very light green. And I keep curtains over the windows. But still, in summer, by sort of 8 o'clock in the morning sometimes, it's 35 degrees in the boat and it just stays that hot constantly. So I need to get nets to cover the front and back door because of the bugs. Because we're on a lake, there's often lots of mozzies and things like that. So I need to get nets to cover the front and back door. So yeah, I've got lots of little boat jobs to do. And like I say, I'm not going to get them all done today. Today is about planning. So this is the plan over the next few weeks. I have a couple of videos coming up of some very small UK trips. I'm going to go to the witchiest village in the UK, and I'm also going to go down to Devon to see my friend. I also might be doing a random trip to the Cotswolds with some friends just for a couple of days. So yeah, I am going to be in and out over the next few weeks. But once sort of mid-April hits, I am determined to be on the boat consistently, turn my fridge back on, you know, actually just be here, commit to the space and commit to refreshing it and getting it back to a point where I love it. Like, I want to repaint these I'm not happy with, so I want to repaint that. Would love to finally tile my bathroom because I've had the tiles for over 2 years and haven't done it. So yeah, expect some boat DIY, but also some mental refreshing. But I thought I would share with you today the plan of what I'm going to do, because I think even if you don't live on a boat, there's some really helpful tips in there of ways to like refresh your space and refresh your mind and yourself and reorganize in spring. So if they are useful to you, please let me know in the comments. I'm actually feeling really positive about the boat today, so that's good. That's not to say that I'm gonna live on her for another 10 years. But if I can just be happy on the boat in the meantime, that would be very, very advantageous, because I can't keep avoiding being here. It's actually making my anxiety about the boat a lot worse. So here's to a boaty summer, and I will see you next week.